All right, now we are in the movies and TV shows segment of our lovely beer night YouTube show.
Podcast? YouTube
I
show?
was about to say podcast.
Podcast?
I literally was, but our Halloween special. We're going to talk about horror movies or horror TV shows in this segment. But first, you and I
But
both
first,
have watched Tenet in theaters.
Tenet.
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 What a mind fuck of a movie. Talk about just the whole holy shit aspect of the way they shot things. Just to me, it was very hard to follow at first, and then you kind of understand what's going on later in the film. You got to really pay attention to this movie. You might need to see it 2 or 3 times to actually fully understand this movie. But
Well,
Jesus Christ, what a fucking great movie.
here's my take. You don't if you don't go into a Chris Nolan movie, right?
Yeah.
Unless you expect that you got to pay attention.
Yeah.
If you're going into this thinking that you're just going to zone out and watch an entertainment movie, then you don't understand Chris Nolan movies. You've never seen Inception. You've never seen Interstellar. You've never seen Memento.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic movie, by the way.
I kind of compare that movie to Memento almost.
Yeah, a little similar.
Yeah.
Pretty similar. Pretty similar. But radically different at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yes, you got to pay attention, but if you do, it's extremely rewarding
Yes,
because
it is.
it's not, I wouldn't say it's hard to follow. I really wouldn't.
At the
However,
beginning, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
yeah,
What
I mean,
is going on
not,
here?
It's,
And then when you get
but
to
it's,
certain
it's,
parts...
but it's not hard to follow. It's just mysterious.
yeah. And then when you get to
Serious.
certain parts, you're like,
It all comes
oh,
together. It comes together.
Oh,
It all comes together.
that's
yes.
where that is.
So it's not hard to follow. It's just that it's mysterious and it kind of comes together, and it's very unique. But also it's rewarding. So now where I agree with you is watching it multiple times you can kind of pick up things a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to spoil anything, but you can kind of see the way things are working a little bit differently. That being said, I will also say it's the kind of movie that the first time you see it is the most awe-inspiring, right? Because it's like, whoa, this, that. When you don't know what's coming is when it's the best.
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean it's not going to be, it'll be extremely rewarding on repeat viewings because you'll be able to put things together a little bit better. But the first time you see it is when
It's like,
whoa.
oh shit,
Yeah,
I know that. I understand that now.
yeah.
You get that like, oh shit, I understand that shit. Yeah, it's good. But man, that movie should win every fucking award ever possible.
It's not going to win any
It
awards.
should, man. It's an amazing movie.
It's very good, yeah.
Very good. Very good movie.
Excellent.
If you haven't seen it, hopefully the theater is open and it played it already and you watched it. Amazing movie.
And
amazing movie.
Side note, Chris Nolan is a genius.
Genius.
So, because to me, his patience and his dedication to crafting a technical and complex story, because I think too many directors take shortcuts with stories. He is fully dedicated to making something complex, but honestly, even though you say it's hard to follow, he still makes a really complex story that the audience can understand if you pay attention. It's not abstract. Like, I'm a big Stanley Kubrick guy, right? Kubrick does not give a shit about the audience.
Yeah.
It's pure abstract kind of visual art. An even greater example would be like David Lynch. I really like a lot of David Lynch movies. His movies are pure abstract art. He does not care whether the audience understands what's going on or not. Chris Nolan actually gives you plenty of things to be able to follow along and gives you plenty of structure to be able to understand what's going on. You just got to pay attention. That's it. You've got to pay attention. And if you don't, it's your loss because you're missing out on very, very skilled direction and skilled filmmaking. And he makes great movies. He really does. Whether it's like we were talking about Inception, Interstellar, Memento, which for my money might still be his masterpiece and best movie.
That's a great movie.
The Dark Knight trilogy, which everybody knows,
loves.
but those are very well crafted movies
Yeah.
as well. They're a little bit more conventional, but they're still very well crafted movies. I mean, he makes great films.
Yeah.
I still, you know what? You know what's funny?
What?
As much as I love his movies, I still haven't seen Dunkirk.
Dunkirk?
I
still haven't seen that
Still
one
haven't
either.
seen it.
No, I still haven't seen that one either.
You know what I did watch though?
What?
Which was great.
Yes.
1917.
I saw that one. Great movie. Great movie. Awesome. Awesome.
Great. I did notice. Okay, maybe I'm being, maybe I'm kind of thinking I'm a little too good here. But I felt like I did notice a couple of cuts. There's one obvious cut, right, where it shifts halfway through the movie, and you get an obvious cut where the screen goes black. But I felt like there was a couple of disguised cuts in there too, where I was like, oh, there's a cut there, but it was disguised to where you could barely see it. Regardless, even if I'm right, it's an amazingly shot.
Good shot
movie.
Yes.
Even if the movie is done in 4 shots instead of 1 or 2, it's still an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
Really, really great movie.
That's a good movie. Good movie. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into.
Oh, we're supposed to talk about horror movies.
Horror movies. Love horror movies.
Is it Halloween?
It's Halloween.
We got all these 3 decorations here, so
whatever. But I love horror movies. Probably my favorite genre of movies is horror.
It's your favorite.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I'm gonna give you some good recent movies I've watched on Netflix that you probably should watch. Creep 1 and Creep 2. Now they're like found footage movies, and they're with this actor called Mark Duplass. I know you know who that is. I think he was in The League. I think the show The League.
Okay.
I think, but it's a found footage movie that you had no idea where it was going. It's very intriguing. Like, I don't like a lot of found footage movies.
No, I don't either.
Because
I was going to say that.
They're very pretty garbage, but
Yeah.
this one, like, I was so intrigued on where it was going because it takes you to this way, but no, it fucking goes this way. It's very good. Creep 1 and Creep 2. Check them out. They're both on Netflix.
My only problem with found footage movies is that I always feel like at some point in time, the douchebag would have stopped filming.
Yeah, you would think.
He would turn off the camera and be like, okay, I'm running for my life now.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit. I ain't filming anymore.
But this one was very interesting. The premises of this movie is for Creep 1, this guy, Mark Duplass, he's acting in, he is going through cancer and wants to film everything about his life in a day. So a filmmaker comes and films him on certain things, and it just like goes this way and that way, and like what is going on?
Sounds pretty intriguing. Yeah. Sounds good.
It's very good. Very intriguing movies. The other Netflix movies I've watched is The Babysitter, Part 1 and Part 2. Very interesting movies. It's
like the Lisa Silverstone.
No. These are new ones.
I'm like, wait a minute here. Wait a minute.
The babysitter conjures some evil spirits to help their lives. You know, evil spirits conjures. You know?
This is what you do when you conjure things.
And they have to sacrifice. You know, the babies. Well, it's more like teenagers or young teens that they're babysitting. They have to kill them to have better lives. And
naturally.
Very, very good.
Who doesn't want to kill teenagers to have a better life?
Exactly. Very good movies. I was very surprised on these movies. Very entertaining. Very, I would say more of a comedy horror on those. I enjoyed them very much. So watch those on Netflix. Those are good. Another Netflix movie that's very brutal. Very brutal. Terrifier. If you haven't watched Terrifier, it's on Netflix.
Terrifier's been around for a while.
It's been around for a while.
It's not a Netflix movie. It's been around for a while.
But I've seen it on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix. It's a creepy clown, and it's got some horrific deaths in this movie. It's a very B-rated movie. Fucking, it's so good.
So speaking
It's
of
so good.
obscure kind of horror movies
Yeah.
that I don't even know where you can find this anymore because it was on Netflix for a while, but I don't know if it still is. You ever heard of Triangle?
Yes, I think it might be still on Netflix.
Maybe.
I think it once was on my wish list, a watch list.
Watch it.
Watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
It's very
Good?
good. It's very good, and it's you like mindfuck shit.
Yeah.
It's you're gonna watch and be like,
Wait,
what?
I was
What the
intrigued
hell?
about that movie one time, and I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good for a B-level horror movie.
Yeah.
It's
very
really
good.
It's
I'll
really
check that one out.
So some other ones that I would mention, and you know, I feel like I'm going a little cliche here. I probably am, but you know, I'm a big fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, good fucking movie.
I don't know what
It's
it
just-
is.
It's just it's
I don't know what it is about the movie.
to me. It's shot, and it feels so fucking real.
Yes,
It
that's
feels
what it is.
so
It's
real.
the cinematography
Yeah.
and the direction of that movie that
Feels like I
are
shouldn't even
so
be watching.
are
this
so
almost.
different. Like it's just for it almost feels like a documentary.
Yeah,
Like it's just
yeah,
and you're
it does.
watching it and it's just the way it's shot. Like yes, the characters are goofy and it's kind of like a weird kind of old horror movie, but the cinematography and the way it's shot and the direction and the angles, some of the angles that are shot are so picturesque and are so beautiful, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like it's like you see these shots with the camera and you're like, wow, this is like an incredible shot, but it's in like this creepy horror movie that turns really really dark and like you just
It's real quick too. Well,
but
not real quick,
and
but like
well
it just
it is a slow burn,
Yeah.
but not like too slow. It's not like The Shining or anything, but there's moments in there when and the horror comes a lot of times with lack of music, which I think is something that's really well exploited because music in movies, not just horror movies, but music in all movies is there to kind of generate emotion, generate
Halloween,
feeling.
great music.
I will get to that.
Yeah.
So, but something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre uses the absence of music really well.
Yeah.
The absence of music and just because it gives that documentary
It
feel
does,
again.
yeah. It makes it feel so
the,
real.
The absence of music and it's just kind of like you're like, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden shit happens and like it happens suddenly and you're like, whoa. It's a great movie. It really is a great movie. And the ending, oh my god, the ending is just it's classic. It's such a classic movie. The remakes can't hold a candle to
No,
it.
they can't. No.
Another one for me is Halloween.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. Halloween might be the other side of the spectrum where the music adds so much to that movie.
More to it. Yeah.
So much to that movie and the elements of because and there's so many sequels made with Michael Myers, right? But nothing comes close to that
The
first
original. No.
where it's just so dark and so scary.
Yeah.
It really is. Like it's just so scary. I remember being younger, being a kid, and seeing that one scene where Michael Myers kills the guy up against the wall, lifts him off his feet and pins him into the wall with a knife, and then just stands there and looks at him.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking creepy and weird and scary. And like it's just like you just have this feeling that this guy is such a complete psycho.
Yeah.
Like it's so scary and that because you feel like there's somebody like this that exists in the world. The other scariest scene in that movie is when they're driving around the mental hospital and it's raining and it's dark outside and all of a sudden he jumps on the hood of the car and it's fucking hospital outfit. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just so, it makes you, whenever you drive by a mental hospital, you're always thinking of that
I
scene.
drive by one every day.
Yeah, and you're always thinking of that scene, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's like, it's just so creepy. It's really well done. Another one I will give a ton of love to. One thing I didn't mention with Halloween is John Carpenter. I love me some John Carpenter. There is not really a John Carpenter movie I don't like. Even his less than stellar ones. I love me some Escape from L.A.
Yeah?
Escape from New York is way better. Don't get me wrong, but I still like some Escape from L.A. too.
Really?
He's a fantastic director. The Thing is a
Thing.
fucking masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece, dude.
That movie
Body
is
horror in that movie.
ridiculous. That
Just
movie is
fucking
so good,
ridiculous,
and I feel like I'm just naming movies that everybody knows and loves. They're cliche, I know, but you know, I got to give some love where love is due.
Yeah.
That is an incredible piece of work from a filmmaking standpoint, from a director standpoint. The actors are incredible. I always love me some Kurt Russell, and everybody else is in it. Keith David, you know, from They Live fame, you know, Keith David is great in They Live, and he's great in The Thing too. Good stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you looking at over there?
I kind of like the horror movies that kind of a little bit realistic, like The Last House on the Left.
Okay. Yeah. That's a very good one.
I Spit on Your Grave.
The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Because you could be in that situation.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Like the Last House on the Left.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah.
The Last House on the Left. Fucking like these fucking jailbirds that escape jail. Fucking just brutally murder these girls, and then they ended up at the house where they murdered, and it's just such a like good revenge movie. Same thing like I Spit on Your Grave too.
Yes.
Same thing. Is
now we're talking about the originals, not the remakes. Not the remakes.
I did like the remake of I Spit on Your Grave.
Really?
That was okay. It wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be. I did enjoy it a little bit.
I feel like when you watch them, they're Hollywood remakes.
They are. I agree
whereas
with
the originals, it's like
the originals,
they're guerrilla.
Yes, I
they're
agree.
indie films.
Better.
They're indie films. They're guerrilla filmmaking made on a low budget, but that adds to the atmosphere. Like you can tell that it's just people. It's talented people making movies. It's not like Hollywood trying to be like, oh, let's do something cool,
make money. Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned The Evil Dead. Evil Dead. It's
okay.
Woo-wee.
So I forgot about that one.
Well,
I'm sorry.
To me, they're not. To me, they're not horror movies.
They're horror comedy.
Horror comedy. It's so comedy. It's just so friggin' over the top.
But let's be straight here. Evil Dead 2 is one of the greatest horror movies
I love
ever
Evil
made.
Dead 2. Way better than the first one.
Evil Dead 2 is absolutely incredible. It's such a great horror movie because of the comedy.
Yeah.
Because of the horror element, because of the gore, the grotesqueness, but also the tongue-in-cheek comedy. Like it's a low-budget masterpiece. It's again, it's not Hollywood. You get a talented filmmaker like Sam Raimi, and you give him just a little bit of money and say, just do this. You do whatever you want to do. They just go and they just do it, and
all the fucking
you can
blood and gore and like the spewing of liquids. It's woo.
And you know what? There are a few better moments in movies
than
when he first gets the chainsaw in his hand, and he looks at the camera and says, you know, he's actually looking past the camera. He's looking just past, and he says, "Groovy." I mean,
you
can't beat it.
Can't get more fucking awesome than that.
You can't beat it.
No.
You just can't beat it. It's a great movie. Great movie.
What about like like zombie movies? Did you like the Resident Evil movies or
no?
Or what about like The Walking Dead, like the first couple seasons?
Walking Dead's amazing. I mean, there's not. Walking Dead wore out its welcome because it just went on too long.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's bad. It's still good. Like it's still good.
It's still good, yeah.
But the first, let's say
5 seasons,
5 or 6
with
seasons.
Negan. What about with Negan? Did you watch through Negan?
I stopped when he was imprisoned.
In prison, okay.
So I got through the first half of the season because remember the first half of the season is when Rick goes away.
Yeah.
And that's when Negan's in prison. So I saw that where Rick goes away on the helicopter, and Negan's in prison because Rick beat him in the previous season, and he didn't kill him. He decided to let him live instead. And then the next season is when Rick almost dies, but he goes away in the helicopter, and he's going off to start his own story, and they're going to supposedly going to make a movie or whatever, which I'm excited for. That'd be great. But I just felt like the show just was kind of laboring after that.
It's not more about zombies.
It was laboring.
It
was laboring after that.
The trying to stay alive and from other people's different perspectives on how to stay alive.
It's always been like that.
Yeah.
It has always been.
Yeah, it has been, but I think it's it's too much. Like
It's more the same.
Rehashing.
Yeah, it's more the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. It is. It's just, we're getting into TV shows now, and TV shows, there's a sweet spot with TV shows.
Yeah.
So you look at something like Breaking Bad's a good example, right?
Yeah.
They stopped it after 5 seasons. They could have easily tried to stretch it out to 8.
Could have, yeah.
But they stopped it for 5. There's a sweet spot there.
Die sometime.
To me, the sweet spot with television shows is about, I used to say 6 to 8 seasons, but now I'm thinking it's probably more 5 to 7.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they drag on too long. Another good example is Mad Men. Mad Men's a fantastic, great show. And they ended it at the right time. They didn't drag it on too long. Yeah. And I just feel like with Walking Dead, you have the opportunity is there to keep it going, right? Because it's about survival, right?
Yeah,
so you don't want everybody to die. You don't want it to end. You want people to keep surviving. So like from that standpoint, it makes sense to keep it going. But with the fact that it just feels like it's gone too long. Plus, you have Fear the Walking Dead. Now you have the next spin-off series that started out.
Walking Dead Beyond. World Beyond.
It's just World Beyond.
Which I'm watching right now. Only because it ties into what's going on with Rick and stuff. Like, I think eventually it'll tie into the movie. So that's why I'm kind of watching that.
But even besides that stuff, Fear the Walking Dead diminished the regular Walking Dead a little bit to me. But even besides that, if it didn't exist, I just feel like once you start getting to 8, 9 seasons, you're past time to wrap it up.
It's coming to an end.
You're kind of past time to wrap it up, and I don't feel like they're doing that with The Walking Dead. I think they're going to stretch it to 10, 11, 12 seasons.
No, they're done 10 seasons. This
really?
is the last season.
It is.
They call it quits.
Interesting.
And then they're spinning it off with.
I know that. But that means they're not really calling it quits.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
They're not really.
It's just. Milk it dry, baby. Milk it dry.
It's a great show.
It is a good show.
It's a fantastic show. The first 3 seasons, really, the first 2 seasons are so high up. Like that was some of the best TV I've ever watched. And for it being a horror show, like those first 2 seasons are so good. There's so many scenes that are memorable there. Yeah. And even when it's gotten so far into where like the first 2 seasons are kind of like a distant memory, I still remember those to where it's like there's so many elements that are so great in that show. And after that, it was still great. It was still great for so many seasons after that. But it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And a great show knows when to wrap it up.
Yeah. I agree with you. One more quick thing. Slasher movies. Who do you think is the best slasher? Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, or Jason Voorhees? Who do you got?
Just those 3?
Just those 3.
Just those 3.
Yeah.
I'll take Jason.
Take Jason? Taking Freddy. Get you in your dreams. You fucking can't sleep, bro. You can't sleep. You sleep, he comes and kills you.
We're going to argue over fantasy now? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing. Take Jason, I take Freddy.
I'll take Jason.
Yeah.
By the way,
they made a movie about it.
Yeah, so we can show this down in Freddy vs. Jason, which is awesome, by the way. I love Freddy vs.
That was a good movie.
I love it.
It's fantastic.
It's just fun. Yeah. It's just fun. It's just good old fashioned fun, especially if you grew up with those characters. And I have. I mean, I've seen every single one of their movies. Yeah. Every single one. I feel like it doesn't have the same impact unless you've seen every single one of their movies, though.
I agree.
Like even if you've seen all the crappy ones, every single one, if you've been there through the
Jason X, baby.
Yeah,
Jason X and Jason in space
when he's beating the girls in the sleeping bag. Oh my god,
good stuff. That was crazy. Good movie.
But anyway. If you've been there through thick and thin, I feel like Freddy vs. Jason is that much more impactful. Because it's like the culmination of all these fucking good and shitty movies. Just like it takes some. It's like the Marvel universe, but except Marvel universe doesn't really have any shitty movies. But it's the culmination of all these. Yeah. And it's just if you've been there since the beginning, it's such a great payoff. Yeah. It is so great.
Good movie. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up with horror, right? Horror movies or
maybe, dude.
Or movies, TV shows, segments. I think that's about it. Right? I think we're gonna move on to video games.
There's probably more we can talk about,
but plenty more. But
we're not gonna because
the millions.
It's too long.
And millions of our listeners are probably bored of us. So we're going to go ahead and talk about video games in our next final segment of this episode of Beer Night, episode 7, Halloween special.
Who is that, by the way? Is that The Rock? Is that The Rock?
Maybe.
Is that The Rock?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
You fucking sell out.